COVID-19 survivor. Could you please introduce yourself to us?
My name is George, and I am from Fairfield, California. I own a medical supply store, and it's called I Feel Good Medical.
When did you think you had COVID-19?
I really never thought that I had COVID-19. I kept getting a fever periodically after I take my ibuprofen. So I went down to North Bay Medical Center and asked them to just take my temperature to see if I had a fever. And wasn't too bad. It was 100.5. And so they said they're going to run a bunch of tests on me and found out that I had mild pneumonia.
Were you isolated from anyone in the hospital? Could you please tell us about that?
Well, after they tested me and found out that I had the temperature and pneumonia, they ran tests to see if I had flu. I came negative with the flu, and basically my blood work was okay. But they said they wanted to keep me overnight, so at that point they just put me in the general hospital until the next morning, around 5 in the morning, the lady came to the room and gave me the COVID test. And at that point I had to wait another 2 days to find out if I had the COVID-19. I really didn't believe I had it the whole time I was there at the beginning because it hadn't really affected me that much at that point.
How many days did you stay in the hospital total?
Well, after 2 days that they found out they had the COVID, then they immediately moved me up to a isolation ward, and at that point, they kept running tests on me, and I was there for about another 3 days before they released me, and then they told me to go home and stay in isolation for at least 10 to 15 more days.
Were you under a ventilator?
Myself, no. I was lucky. All my vitals and everything were good. Being that pretty healthy as it was, I don't think that they felt it was necessary to put me in any other extra equipment, and that's why they sent me home pretty early. I know a friend of mine, actually he's an employee of mine, that spent 21 days in a ventilator, and we thought he was going to die, but he pulled through. So for people who are not healthy, it's very scary.
Where did you get COVID-19? Do you have any idea? Did you go to a party, or where did you get it?
Well, I feel that I probably contracted from my son's roommates. And the reason I say that is because they had a party going on, and one of the girls got really sick at that point before I left, and then 2 days later is when I started feeling the fever. So I think that's when I actually came down with it. But the thing is with this is that people don't understand is that you don't know where you got it from. Nobody can tell. Nobody can say, yeah, I gave it to you. I don't think that's possible because everybody could be a carrier. So you could get it from anybody. And that's why it's important to wear a mask, I think, at times.
Are there any family members who also got COVID-19?
No, there was no immediate family members that I know or anybody I know personally that had COVID. I know there's a lot of people that I know that gotten sick and went through the same thing I went through, but never went to the doctors, or the hospital. Again, probably because they were healthy or younger, not my age or whatever. I think we just don't know who might have it, who might not have it.
Okay, so when I walk around out in the public, I still see people not wearing masks. I wear masks all the time when I'm out there. What do you think about wearing masks?
Wearing a mask. Well, I think first of all, when you put the mask on, you think that you're protecting yourself. And I don't think it's protecting yourself is the reason for the mask. I think the reason for the mask is to keep people who are carrying the virus from spreading it. That's the real person. That's why they say keep social distancing of 6 feet, because if somebody has it, you don't know they have it, then the mask comes handy, and it's hard for you to contract it.
So do you think this whole COVID-19 is a conspiracy?
I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think a lot of people who think it's a conspiracy is because they never had the COVID-19 like I have. When you have it, then you take it seriously, a lot more seriously. I think that it's more political than it's conspiracy. I think it's the government trying to win elections. I really believe that. Trump is trying to cultivate all the people that want to go back to work, that want to get off unemployment, that they don't care, they haven't gotten sick, they haven't got the COVID, even though they might be carrying it, and to get back to work and make money and not wear masks and go back to school and everything's okay. Where the Democrats are, instead of helping the people, they're just over dramatizing the whole situation. I'm not saying that this is not a bad situation. I'm saying they're not coming up with solutions and things that's going to help the people. They say there's 2 million people that contracted the virus. I think it's probably 20 to 30 or 40 million that have it. It's just we don't know, and that's the issue.
So do you think after the election, COVID-19 will just disappear?
Absolutely not. I think that depending who wins the election, if Trump wins the election, then we're going to be in really a lot of trouble, because he will totally ignore and he would be really persistent on getting everybody back to work, and we're going to have it's going to be worse than a pandemic. If the Democrats win, at least we might have a chance of them trying to help the people through this. I don't think that the government cares about the people. I think we're all suffering here. I think we're all confused, and I don't see, we're not having any leadership, and I think that's the real problem we're having.
As a COVID-19 survivor, have you done any type of medical contribution, plasma donation?
Actually, I have. I went to the blood bank, the Red Cross blood bank, and I contribute my antibodies to people who are suffering through this COVID-19 dilemma, to help them, to give them strength, and use my antibodies to help them through it, especially for the really serious people that might die or something, to keep them from dying. And I'm thinking about going back again, actually, and do it again.
Can you get infected again with this COVID-19?
Nobody really knows. Some people say you can't. Some people say after 2 months that your antibodies go away. I think that you just have to be safe. Again, this goes back to my thing that I was saying earlier about there's so much confusion about everything about this, and it's sad that we are suffering like this, because we just don't know. Suffering that having money, losing businesses, big corporations, like Neiman Marcus, and Hertz and all that going out of business. It's because people just don't know how to deal with this at this point. So I think it's the responsibility of the government to turn this around, and I don't think this won't even start happening until after the election. That's my feeling.
Can you tell us briefly about your experience in Las Vegas?
Oh, well, Las Vegas was beautiful, but again, because the casinos are so determined to reopen and function with normality, that they're over exaggerating everything. I mean, you have to get your temperature taken before you walk in. It's mandatory you wear a mask, even if you're playing a machine and there's like nobody around in 20 feet from you. You have to be wearing your mask, and it's okay. I mean, that's all good, but I mean, it's sad. I think that where we're at this point. I think we have to, figure out what's going on. I think this stuff is going to last for a while.
Do you have any message for us, people who hasn't contracted COVID-19 like me?
Well, I think the people who haven't contracted COVID-19 have to realize that it is something that you can catch, and something that you can ignore. Okay, a lot of people say it's just a flu. Okay, but when you can't smell or taste anything for 2 weeks, and it's really scary. It can be really scary, and especially if you're really old or you have disease and stuff. So all I can say is that we have to be safe. Don't assume that everything's okay and it's a conspiracy and you're not going to catch it, because you just don't know. Anybody can be carrying it, and make sure you wear a mask, because you could be carrying it and give it to somebody else.
Well, thank you so much, George, for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.